thank you all for the great questions, and thanks to all the great speakers. I wanted to allow a little bit of time for some reflection and sharing because we all had to only see one talk at a time. I would love to hear from folks about what they learned in their sessions, and again, just writing on the slide with the text box tool. Candy is key. I know there was 2 hands-on talks involving Candy in session 1, and they were very effective using things that students are very familiar with. So, and also, you're also just welcome to raise your hand and share. I might just call on the moderators of the other sessions. Let's see. So, Brian, are you ready to give any suggestions on or reflections on what you saw?
Yeah, I was just typing in a great variety of different approaches that the students and postdocs used, and I thought a lot of great experimental design and pre-thought went into kind of designing their project and being very focused. And data and research doesn't always work out to be significant results, and so that's the nature of research, and in particular using kind of classroom approaches that our projects do. So really great investment in their projects, and so that was great to see.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a very good point. These are often first tries at projects, so that you can't expect significant results necessarily, but you learn a lot from the experience and you go on from there. So yeah, Bill, how about sharing what you saw in the session?
Well, I'll follow up on what Brian said. A mixture of some results that were really nice and very encouraging, and in a couple of cases results that it's just too early, but it was constant. In a number of the presentations reminded of the difficulties of us doing surveys or pre and post things where there are essentially no stakes for the students in terms of the quality of the data that are generated, and you get these things that are tantalizing, but there are just enough holes in the data to make it hard to interpret, and that seems to be a perennial problem and one that's hard for us to fix. But there were also, just as Brian said, lots of really interesting approaches and good ideas and a real breadth of disciplines represented, which is also nice.
Yeah, that was really exciting by the number of disciplines and institutions we had. So here's another comment about great ideas were shared about hands-on learning in the first session, and then the importance of using standard assessment tools to get interpretable results. It's definitely always great if you can go with something that's already been published and tested and not try to develop your own survey. They might not always exist, but if they do, that's a great way to move on to your and get interpretable results. Yeah, exactly. So nice. There were lots of great studies with impressive suffix numbers, and I like this. Negative results are still results, and I'm glad to hear you learned a lot of great things. And checking in with students about personal experience can help facilitate a positive classroom community. That makes a lot of sense. So that's a good reflection about creative and inclusive learning environments. So anyone else want to offer any final reflections? So thank you. It seems like there was a lot of great things, and I can't wait to watch the recordings of all of the other presentations as well. So, and I hope this has really helped you learn, those of you who are just learning about teaching as research, get some ideas about what you might do, and also just what you might do in the classroom. And yeah, I'm glad they're inspiring examples of TAR projects and very well presented, everybody. And we will make the recordings accessible, and we'll maybe send out an announcement when they're ready. We are now captioning them before we put them online. So because we are finishing early, I would really like you to encourage you to take this time, this 5 minutes that you have left, although it shouldn't even take that long, to fill out the evaluation survey. We really always appreciate your feedback, and actually this goes for both the presenters and the audience. We'd like to hear from the presenters as well. And then there's also some links about the upcoming events, and then learning more about teaching as research. that link seems to be moving around, which happens a lot in this quirky system we have. I don't know if I can move it back, but so that link there is about our resource collections where you can learn more about teaching as research, but this is the one here that would really like to get you to respond to the survey. And email the link for the survey or for the resource collection. Yes, we can do that. Yeah, and I want to thank again the presenters for doing such a fantastic job, and my wonderful co-facilitators, Brian and Bill, and also all my wonderful colleagues at Turtle Central, and then a special shout out to Miranda Davis, who did an amazing job putting together, coordinating this whole thing. Yeah, she did such a great job, and it was really fun working with her. Thank you. Not to say that she's going away anytime. It continues to be great to work with her. So, yeah.
Thanks, Denise.
So, and we'll stick around for a little while if anyone has any questions. Oh, Jennifer, I'm glad to hear you. What is your, if you're still around, what is your new job? That's exciting.
Oh, I'm going to be a science advisor for Congress.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's the American Physics Society Congressional Policy Fellowship for a year.
Fantastic. That's excellent.